My name is Marcus Brown of Chest Frog Farms. Today I have with me, on the far left,
Fli-City.
that's his political stance also, in the middle,
Joel Jones.
Today is a special episode. We are going to be discussing the late, great artist, producer, innovator, Prince Rogers Nelson. Born on June 7th. Out of the Mud Productions is bringing this to you, along with Ovaltine and Kent Cigarettes. Out of the Mud Productions. We also have here our producer extraordinaire, the man, the myth, the legend, Sir
George F. Grundy II.
He said that so proudly. We have a call-in number now. We are moving with the times. If you have questions, comments, concerns, something that you want to share, you can share through Facebook, but now you can also telephone call in with your comments or concerns. The number is 248-820-5053. That number again is 248-820-5053. Our topic. The artist, formerly known as Prince, the artist currently known as Prince. The man went through so many changes, and he had a great impact on not just people, but the industry. Today we're going to try and delve into who this person was and what is the lasting impact that Prince has had on a number of things. Any comments, gentlemen? Okay. He does leave people speechless sometimes. Prince Rogers Nelson was born June 7th, 1958, to jazz singing parents. Father was a jazz pianist, mother was a jazz singer. They were both black, contrary to what Purple Rain showed and what a lot of people want to believe. Prince is black. That one drop rule kicks in with him. I've had arguments with some of my friends of a different complexion that want to half claim Prince and say, no, his mom is white or his dad is white. Like, no. Both his parents are black. So let's get that out of the way. I'm going to tell you the first time I saw Prince. Now, I had heard of Soft and Wet, but it was a passing song. There was a lot of cool funk out back then. The first time that I really saw Prince, it was late night on ABC, and this is back before the days of cable. And he was singing "Wanna Be Your Lover." And I had never seen this video or seen him before. And so from a distance, I'm waking up, half asleep, middle of the night. I'm like, wow, that's a cute little Puerto Rican girl. They need to put some more clothes on her, though. Because he had a little vest on. And I thought it was actually a little Puerto Rican girl. And then I looked closer, I'm like, wait a minute, that Puerto Rican girl got a mustache. And so forth. So, I Want to Be Your Lover, off his second album, titled Prince. First album was titled For You. Well, we're not going to talk about the pre-Warner Brothers days albums, the 94 East album, or the other demos that came out. Mr. Camille, you have a comment there?
Oh, no. There were actually two more that he had a group with prior to 94 East.
94 East, Grand Central.
Before Grand Central.
Would you like to tell us the name?
I can't think of it.
Can't think of the name.
But they were
Remember,
there.
I'm an OG.
Yeah. Well, Prince, Andre Simone, Morris Day, Pepe Willie, and a number of people go way back. A lot of people don't know this, but the Time actually did exist, and they were a rival band of Prince back in the day. The story gets kind of muddled with the mythology of Prince and Rick James when it comes to the movie Purple Rain. Prince has a history of making enemies with people sometimes. But Alexander O'Neal, later of duet fame with Sherelle, and who got a very large boost up from, what's the name of those two producers?
Cherry Jam, Jimmy Lewis.
Jimmy Chunga. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Those guys, yeah.
Alexander O'Neal was supposed to be the lead singer of the Time, but Prince said, no when Alexander O'Neal started asking for cars and pools and things like that. But getting into the history of Prince. Prince was raised with his mom and his dad to a certain point when he left, and they got divorced. He has only one full-blooded sister, Tika.
Yeah.
Tuka. Anyway, he has one.
Susan is supposed to be, but
I heard he was dating Susan from Vanity Six fame.
Oh no, not that Susan.
Oh, another Susan.
Yeah, it's another Susan.
Susanna
That's in the
Melvoin?
family. No.
Oh boy.
I thought that was his girlfriend too.
Well, remember. Yeah. No, he married her.
See, that's news to me. I thought he
They were
married the
married.
Latino woman,
He married her too.
and then he married somebody who was helping out with his nonprofit. Somebody in the 2000s. So he had 3 wives.
More than that.
Oh, okay, well, maybe he was part Arab. Was that stereotypical?
You never know.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. Maybe he was from Utah. I don't know. We'll leave that alone. But Prince had an extraordinary impact on my life. If it was not for Prince, I would not have taken up the guitar, gotten into poetry, gotten into writing, gotten into a lot of different music. Most people in my household, being born and raised in Detroit, listen to Motown and listen to straight R&B. Starting to follow Prince, I started to get more into rock and roll, even into new wave, B-52s, Devo. But Detroit was a special place with Mojo down there. Mojo exposed you to a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, I would love to meet Mojo and interview him. I think Mojo might be responsible for his popularity in Detroit, because Mojo would play the entire Prince album. He'd play entire sides of Parliament, Prince, and a few other artists were given that credential with Mojo just, I'm putting the album on tonight. And this is when the albums first came out. So Prince has a major following in Detroit. I would dare say that his following in Detroit is greater than Michael Jackson's following in Detroit.
Yes.
Because whenever Prince comes to town, he sells out instantaneously. He kicked off the Purple Rain tour in Detroit and ended the Purple Rain tour in Detroit. No, he ended the tour in New York, but he came back for a couple of engagements.
Yeah.
He came for his birthday party, and I went to his birthday party concert in '86, which was extraordinary.
Oh, which?
The one he did at Joe Louis Arena.
Okay. Yeah.
Where he did Housequake. He made fun of Morris Day. They cut down the oak tree and made it into a wooden leg.
Yeah.
But so instead of me talking, young man, what are your thoughts on Prince? When was the first time you recognized who Prince was?
You know, to be completely honest, I don't know. I knew who Prince was just from the music and stuff, but I remember being young, even I remember the Chappelle Show, and he did that the one skit, and it just showed kind of just how Prince was just on top of the world in so many different aspects of life. Because I remember in that particular skit, I mean, he was serving pancakes, but then he went out on a basketball court and he was just dunking on everybody, you know. Sure. But he was so it was so flamboyant. He was so better than everybody else, and so glamorous while he was doing it. And so he just seemed like this guy that was just, he had his own avenue, his own pathway to be on, and everybody loved it, and they wanted to be a part of what he had going. He's created his own movement. And
he was following in the tradition of James Brown.
Yeah.
Following in the tradition of Little Richard, following in the tradition of Chuck Berry, following in the tradition of Nat King Cole, of being a independent star of sorts, and musician and an innovator. You look at all these other innovators, Nat King Cole, a black man with a TV show back in the 50s. Chuck Berry, just a terrible, great innovator of rock and roll, often duplicated but never replicated, or however you say it. And then you got Little Richard with the androgyny and whatnot kicking in. You got James Brown. You got a mixture of everything there. A little bit of Sly, a little bit of Jimmy. It's like Prince was like a goulash of the 50s and the 60s. You just take everything left over in the refrigerator, and we're going to make an album.
Throw it in the mix.
I think that Mo Austin and Warner Brothers recognized that. CBS was in the bidding for him initially also. He tried to go to New York by himself initially with Andre Simone's mama, and he didn't get a contract there. He came back. They did a demo with who was the Minneapolis guy, ad agent, his first quote unquote agent.
Oh, not Chris Moon. Was it Chris Moon?
I think it might be Chris Moon.
Chris Moon.
Helped him create a demo. They shopped it around. People listened to it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's funky.
Who's the band? Yeah.
And then they find out it's not a band, but actually a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid doing everything from drums to guitars to lyrics to everything else. And everybody got into a bidding war over him.
So hold up. I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Did you know him personally?
Did I know Prince personally? No, I did not.
So where
I did speak with him once online, and he did give a donation to one of my
spoke
charities.
to him online, but not in person.
Never met him before.
So this is my
personally.
question. This
Yes.
is my question. What was it? What was the moment or the time or the album or the construct of life that caused you to become so enamored with him to get to know all this information?
What I appreciated about Prince, from him just starting out from the jump, he was different. You had Rick James out at the time. You had, who else was out back then? You had Michael Jackson out at the time. Parliament, Kool and the Gang. You had a lot of funk groups, and you had a lot of singers out there. But Prince kind of went to a different beat. He wasn't just relegated to doing funk or R&B. He would come out with a song that was totally out of left field and definitely rock and roll or definitely new wave. I think that when he came out with his second album, the album named Prince, where he's on the horse, he had jazz mixed in with the funk. There were long guitar solos that would definitely qualify as jazz. And any other category, if it wasn't on the Prince album, it'd be a jazz solo. He had these long musical riffs where he would stop singing and just throw down on the drums, do this, that, and other thing. What I also appreciated about him, you read that album cover and it says, written, produced, composed, everything done by this one person. And you might want to believe it was a little bit of hype with that, but for the most part, he could do most of that stuff himself. He did have some help with Morris Day and Andre Simone and others along the way who might have contributed a song or two.
Based on how you understood it.
Right, for back then, though.
Based on how you understood it from what was being put out there.
Right, but I also knew something was weird and funky going on, because when that First Time album came out, you can hear Prince's voice on it. You could feel his fingerprint. On almost all the songs, you can hear Prince's voice under Morris. Like, Morris Day had a sheet where he would read the music or sing the music, but you can hear Prince carrying notes for Morris sometimes.
So pretty much you were just appreciative of his
I was a young
skill set.
Young teenage kid, like, wow, if I want to become a musician, that's the musician I want to be like.
I would emulate. Yeah.
Okay.
My father had a thing for Jimi Hendrix, and Prince kind of reminded me of Jimi Hendrix a little bit. I'm like, wow, there's this correlation going on.
Gotcha. So what about you? What was it that motivates you to have an appreciation for Prince?
Well, growing up, I knew Jamie. We called him James Princiano.
Wait. Growing up, you knew. So when you say you knew him, what does that mean?
You knew him when he was this little big head kid.
So pause. So full stop. You're saying you knew Prince?
Yeah.
As a kid.
As a kid.
Like y'all played and built castles and made mud pies together type
No,
stuff.
we never did crap like that. We would mess with the.
I'm using that as an example.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Figure of speech.
Yeah.
So y'all, okay, wow. So you knew Prince.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in a special. Okay, I'm coming back to you. I'm gonna pause right there because that's huge. Now, what caused you to have an appreciation for Prince?
Well, I mean, it just seems like people love him. You know, he's just another great. I wouldn't say it was necessarily my era, but like I can appreciate, you know, just that, you know, like I love earlier you asked him like what got you so enamored about him. You know, I think people just have this appreciation for, you know, musicians and artists like him, you know, and others, and so I kind of just fall in line, you know, in terms of just giving flowers to individuals like that.
But what makes you fall in line? Because
I appreciate the music. I appreciate the movement. The thing I love. It's like with me, even like with the word how like I love like social experiments a lot of times, you know, and so I feel like Prince was extremely successful in just him being an individual and getting so many people to buy in to what he was putting out, you know, and it was different for people. And so to me, I could appreciate that. It's just he was successful with introducing something new to the public, you know, to society, and getting so many people to love it, you know, to go and do all this, to become so invested with them. I think stuff like that, you know, that's like brilliance right there.
Okay.
You know?
What would you say is your first what would you say was your first or favorite Prince song that you can remember?
I mean, I just throw I don't know. I like Erotic City. You know, when doves cry. You know,
wow.
the purple.
So no, that's not just regular.
Right, that's back.
You listen to him for real, like you know, Erotic City.
I gotta check it out. The beat on there is, I think the beat probably caught my attention, and then you know, but I try to go and listen to stuff like that, you know, from back in the day. So I'll go and I'll pop at an album so I could check out different things that I'm not familiar with, you know, so I can at least have, you know, some kind of inkling when if it comes up in conversation, or you know, if I'm talking to somebody and they mention something, it's more conversational for me too, just to do my research, you know, and to participate.
Please call in at 248-820-5053 if you have questions or comments or would like to join our conversation about Prince.
So I'm gonna say my thing. So like when it comes to artists, I was a Tupac fanatic. What caused me to become a fanatic partially was his mother being one of the original Black Panthers, and me just imagining all of the information that she put in them and all the other Panthers put in him, and what he had to be thinking, because he literally went through these things. And then like I have an appreciation for Suge Knight because he brought hip hop or rap itself to a whole different level, to where people could actually get paid and weren't bullied by the outsiders. They might be bullied by the insiders, but the outsiders like, nah, we y'all ain't coming in this door.
Right.
This is what we doing. And then say a person like Michael Jackson, to where he's cool with the Beatles and with them, but they saying, well, we don't have our masters, and this is what it takes. And then he ended up buying Elvis and the Beatles and all this other stuff, and then the artist formerly known as to take a stand and have the thing Slave on his face and saying, look, I want my masters, I want my independence, and to stand up like that, to have this music, and then his ability to create so many musical pieces that you have to literally have a vault.
I think that you bring up an important point when you start talking about masters, and I don't want to jump too far away, but Chappelle recently spoke about this term, perpetuity and universal. And a lot of people signed contracts, Chappelle included. Chappelle's not getting any royalties off the Chappelle show. A lot of people don't know that. He's not getting paid anymore off that, because he signed a contract that they could use his likeness, his image, his whatever, in perpetuity throughout the universe. What kind of mess is that? Forever. That's basically selling your soul. Prince signed a similar contract, not realizing what he was actually given to Warner Brothers. People like James Brown was smart enough to say, no, I want to own my own masters. And people like Ray Charles eventually got around to saying, I want my masters. And what your masters are, well, let me get into the argument with Warner Brothers. You own a studio, you let Joe Blow come in and make a recording. Half the royalties off that recording go automatically to the person who owns the studio, unless you got it written in the contracts and otherwise. Half that master goes to the creator, whoever the singer is, Joe Blow. Other half goes to studio owner A. Now, you can create contracts and write around those contracts where you don't have to give up all that, but that's the way the system has been running for people who are not super duper great when they jumping off.
So wait a minute. So I can get that you were into print. Have you had a band and you studio and stuff? Because you talk like you worked for Warner Brothers before or something.
No, but I took a great interest in the argument and in the war when he started writing Slave and what caused that buildup. There was
So the researcher in you came out.
Right, and said, what's going on here?
Your appreciation of the artist.
Madonna got a $100 million contract. There was another artist in the 80s that got $100 million. Michael Jackson got $100 million. Prince said, I want my $100 million also. And Warner Brothers got him. And they got him for another X number of albums because Prince wasn't terribly happy with the way that Warner Brothers was releasing his music. Prince wanted to do something different. He wanted to put out a record every week. Bam, 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 bam.
So he wanted to be the no limit of the day.
He wanted to be his own man, put out whatever he wanted to. And Prince had the power to do that. I mean, Erotic City wasn't really on an album, but you can go to any nightclub and it's a jam. A lot of his jams, like How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, weren't on his albums, but he was writing this stuff, and the stuff was just flowing on the charts.
Gotcha. So I'm going to pause you for a second because I'm going to go back to this gentleman here who literally is a part of the fabric of the person that we're speaking of. And you just take it from there. Just give us whatever pieces of that history you would like to give.
Okay. Well, the childhood scenario, we would call him Mousy because he was always this little guy. And actually, as far as the black aspect of it, he's part Syrian. Remember we had the conversation and you had said Creole? Yeah, Maddie did grow
up. A lot of his people come from Louisiana area.
Yeah, a lot of Maddie's people, yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm not sure if Pepe Willie was his cousin. Do you know who Pepe Willie is? Was that his cousin or?
They were more like
play cousins,
best buds, like he and Andre, you know.
Because Pepe Willie would tell a story like Prince would get. We played the dozens back in the day. Prince would get cut on because he was short. He had a big head. Oh, yeah. Whatever. He'd come back the next day and have like 20 clapbacks ready for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you tore him up one day, he might run home crying, but he coming back with both barrels loaded and cut you to pieces.
In sports, anything, he was just notorious.
He had that competition just built inside of him because I mean, who was that? Spud Webb or whatever.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
And some people want to call it a Napoleon complex. Sometimes if you're short, you gotta do what you gotta do to measure up to the table and say, hey, I'm not getting left out of here.
Mm-hmm. You got to be twice as good, or
three times as good. You just got to be at a jam. Mm-hmm. I mean, you hear stories from. There's a TV show called Behind the Tour Bus, which I recommend people watch. The first season is all country artists. Second season is Mike Judge, same guy who did Beavis and Butthead. He does a show called Behind the Tour Bus, and the second season is all funk. Rick James, Prince, The Time, and they tell stories about untold stories, almost like the Chappelle stories that you hear about Prince and Rick James. Yeah. Imagine a whole season of that in cartoon form, with James Brown getting, with Bootsy Collins getting James Brown high and moving from one place to another, and with Prince and Rick James getting into fights and into brawls with one another. Mm-hmm. So,
Denise.
I mean. When I think about Prince, and I was on the jock, I used to get teased for it because everybody else was listening to Run DMC and was into hip hop, but I was really into Prince, and I would follow certain things. I would stay up all night and wait in line for concert tickets, and I did all the crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I would dress like him. So
I'm just sitting here, and you sound like you know him more than he did, and he grew up with him.
I'm a fanboy.
I'm trying to get some vittles from somebody.
But I'm married with children, but I'm still a fanboy.
I'm trying to get some vittles from someone that was there. Let's get those vittles because you can get them too. You get.
Well, it wasn't months and weeks and things of that nature. It was more like, my dad. I can't tell you his name. He was a promoter. He promoted people to the USO shows and things of that nature. Like me, my brothers, my brother, Derek, and my sisters, we would usually go to Selfridge to perform and things of that nature. But yeah, my dad was he was a promoter,
mm-hmm.
Amongst other things that I can't mention.
Well, did you know Billy Sparks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Jesus.
He lives in the Lansing area now.
Yeah.
But Billy Sparks, by the way, was the guy who with the big glasses from Purple Rain that said, "You're not packing kids. You're not packing them in like you used to." Mm-hmm. The one that was the owner of the club. But Billy Sparks in real life was a promoter, and I met Billy Sparks backstage at Joe Louis Arena once, and he was talking tremendous stuff. See, if these people don't clap loud enough, I ain't bringing Luther back. And we're talking about Detroit, which is a major hub of the chitlin circuit, of the soul circuit, or the R&B, whatever circuit you want to call it. Detroit's part of that hub that you just got to you have to make.
You have to hit the circuit, yeah.
And Billy Sparks was the man if you wanted to get booked in certain places.
Mm-hmm.
He and I think Prince appreciated the contracts that he could work out with him, or whatever agreements they could do, because there were probably bigger promoters in the world and bigger promoters here and there and everywhere else. But it just seems like if you were, Prince had a certain type of loyalty or a certain type of thing where he'd rather work with what was good for him or working with him. And it's kind of interesting how he pulled Alan Leeds from from James Brown. And Alan Leeds, that man needs a movie made about him, because he started out in radio and moved with James Brown and moved and grew with Parliament and moved and grew with a lot of funk acts, and he's still out there to tell stories if he chose to. He probably has a whole bunch of interesting stories, having acted as manager and tour director and all this other stuff.
Well, when you do work it out, make sure you ask him about Tom Draper. Tom Draper was in charge of black music, during the Prince era.
For Warner Brothers or
For Warner's. And Steve Canfield. Steve worked with Sheila, with Delicious Vinyl.
Sheila had a career before.
Always.
A lot of people don't realize this. Sheila was playing with Lionel Richie. She was playing with Marvin Gaye. Mm-hmm. She's the one, that little pop bottle beat from the Michael Jackson beat, working day and night. That's Sheila.
Yeah.
Playing that little pop bottle, sound like somebody's actually hitting pop bottles and whatnot. That's Sheila doing that. Sheila was affiliated with Santana and the rest of them. And she's an Escovedo. And her father is her father and a number of her relatives are famous jazz and salsa Latino drummers and whatnot. She comes from a long lineage.
Right. Well, actually, Sheila is you met Cameron, right? My baby boy?
Well, I don't think
Shoebox
I met
Shoebox boy?
I don't know if I met him. I know I seen the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was 2 pounds when he was born. Now he's like 6'5".
Right, right. Huge,
He fights MMA.
Call in at 248-820-5053, or chime in on Facebook if you have comments or questions, or you want to find out someone who knew Prince as a child, or if you want to know somebody who's about to write an encyclopedia, a purple encyclopedia.
Right.
Okay, so anyway, with Sheila, we never got married. Cameron's mom, my baby boy's mom, is Sheila's first cousin. And Tupac was with Digital Underground, and my son's mom, her name is Tia Coco. She managed Digital Underground when they did the Humpty Dance.
Any relationship to Joey Coco? I'm just asking.
No. But yeah, so the Escovedos. So after, you remember when I went to London? Your dad never told you when I went to
I don't know
California?
about that.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, I worked for Warner Brothers. I was actually an artist, but there was a big conflict, with the Jamie thing and me, because
when you say Jamie, you're referring to
Prince.
Whatever. I'm gonna just start calling him Alexander. Never mind.
There you go. or Frankie, because
one of the many.
We created a monster.
Mm-hmm. Blame it on Mo.
Yeah, Mo was very. What do you call
Mo
the word when you're accommodating?
Oh yeah.
To artists, yeah. So it was Mo Austin, like I said before, Steve Canfield, and Tom Draper. Tom was in charge of black music.
The contract that Prince got, it did have that universal and perpetuity in it, but he was allowed to produce his own records, and he was allowed to do certain other things that was not allowed to other artists. You had to be on the Rolling Stones level in order to get the type of contract that Prince had. And what he had going for him was that he was just wonderkin.
Exactly.
He was just Like, wow, this kid is doing all this, that, and the other thing. It's like finding Stevie Wonder and like, wow.
Yep. So there's more stuff that's
hidden that you might get in trouble for sharing. The Purple Army will come down hard on you.
No, I'm not concerned about those characters.
Hey, Purple Army is dangerous, man.
It's a real thing.
No, there are some Prince fans out there that will.
Oh yeah, they're diehard.
I mean, I'm a diehard fan,
hard.
but I'm not gonna murder
Got his
anybody.
purple on right now, and the mug.
Oh, well. Anyway, we'll talk. Yeah, he's got some stuff that's that I can't wait until he completes. Down at the lake, it's sharp. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got a Prince symbol in my yard.
Yeah.
I dug a retaining. You know how you hold water somewhere. If water drains off, so it's a water drain that's shaped like a Prince symbol. Some people came and asked me about it from the government because you can only see it from space. You can see it on the ground, but you have to make it out. Oh, that's a circle. That's the horn. Up.
Right.
But if you go on Google Earth and you pull up our property, you'll see the Prince symbol.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
And I got plans to put some other stuff out there too. And
Oh, he for real.
Yeah.
He's for real about it.
Yeah. And the funny part about that was 2 weeks before I actually met him. We wanted to go down to his property and stuff, but everything kept stopping us. And then, so yeah, we did a Generations episode, and then he invited us down, and then I'm like, this is.
I have a nice.
This is crazy.
You haven't seen my museum yet. I have a shirt down there. I have all the comic books. I got some of the old interviews. I got a whole bunch of 12 inches. I got like the original Purple Erotic City, Let's Go Crazy mix. I got a couple of Purple albums, and I even got.
Wait a minute. When you say
blue guitar,
you have comic books, Prince had comic books?
Prince. Originally, there was rock and roll comics, and they came out with groups like Take Me Down to the Guns N' Roses.
Why didn't you bring those here so you could have showed us what a Prince
Maybe
comic
next
book
year.
looks like?
Maybe
Next year.
I brought the shirt. I brought me.
Look,
There was also a full size.
There were about 4 comic books though altogether.
Yeah, there's also a full size magazine called You and I. Yeah, it's real deep.
But Prince, I think, was a genius, not only with music, but with marketing. And he took lessons from Parliament. He took lessons from James Brown, and he took lessons from a few others. Because the stunt that he pulled with the time, and Parliament Funkadelic, if for those who don't know, are basically the same group. But George Clinton sold Parliament's rights to one group and then sold Funkadelic rights to another group. So Casablanca had ownership of this group, but then so did Motown for a little while, had ownership of the Parliaments. And then Warner Brothers and then all these other groups get involved. And he's like, wait a minute. The industry didn't realize that, because the industry was like, it's just a bunch of brothers on stage like Earth, Wind, and Fire or Kool and the Gang. And George took advantage of their racism. Said they ain't going to check the names. They ain't going to check the names of who's in this group and who's in that group. And George got over and wound up getting paid twice for the same band. But then he started making different music with the band. Funkadelic was more rock and roll and acid type funk. And Parliament was more groovy and R&B type funk, like One Nation versus the Bop Gun, or One Nation versus Knee Deep.
Sir Nose.
Yeah. And then he took it even further and said, well, I can get Bootsy a contract, and I can get the girls, the Brides of Funkistan,
Parlette.
I can get them a contract. I can get Eddie Hazel a contract. So he broke down the band, and each one of them had a contract, so everybody was getting paid. He brought Bootsy along, and he would pick up. Felipe Wynn was singing with the Spinners.
Yeah.
And when Felipe Wynn said, I could do this by myself and be the big man, he thought he could do a Teddy Pendergrass move. It didn't work out that well. But Felipe Wynn came and sat down with Parliament, and he does that scat on, make no mistake, this funky music's got just what he does that scat with Parliament. It's like he fits in. And Parliament, George became like a rest home for studio musicians and hard time musicians. Like, you having a hard time, come join the mothership. and George would put people onto the mothership. Prince did something similar, because he and Rick James, it's up to debate whether Rick James had the idea first or whether Prince, but Rick James had been out for a while, and Rick James supposedly told Prince about an idea to come out with a girl group. Rick James knew Denise Matthews first.
Yep.
And was planning on putting her as the lead of the Mary Jane Girls. Somehow along the way, Prince jumps on the scene and snatches Vanity, Denise Matthews, from Rick James. And there's a long the beef between Rick James and Prince deserves its own episode probably, because it goes back to disrespecting each other. Prince disrespecting Rick James' mom, and Rick James pouring alcohol down Prince's throat and getting into fight. That's why Chick Hunsenberry, the big wrestler bodyguard that Prince used to get carried around, they put Prince on his shoulder and have him walk through a crowd. But he needed a bodyguard after a while because they were actually
was
fighting.
This like the Game of Thrones, and he was on the back of the mountain?
Well, Warner Brothers had faith in Prince, but they said, y'all need more time on the road to get seasoning. Rick James agreed to take Prince out on the road to help him get the seasoning. Because when they brought Prince out to Hollywood, his mind was blown. He was trying to date LaToya. He was trying to date Patrice Rushen. He was trying to get with...
He actually did date Patrice for a while.
Well, he wrote that song,
Bambi.
I Want to Be... Bambi's written?
Yeah. Check out Bambi.
I heard I Feel For You was actually written for Patrice Rushen to sing, but she was doing her own thing, playing her own instruments and whatever. But
she had a big studio on La Brea, and it wasn't Sunset. It was still deep in the hood. But yeah.
But he was hanging out with the Jackson family.
So hold on. Going back to it. So tell me how much of this did you go to these studios? Where were you at? Were you in what?
I had a studio in Burbank. Okay.
So wait a minute. So you did music too?
Yeah, I produced after.
Did you do any music with Prince?
There's a lot of songs. Remember?
Allegedly?
No.
I'm just
Factually.
saying. Okay, so I don't know if you have to put a shield over it. So,
Right.
I'm saying. So allegedly, you did some songs with Prince.
Factually.
In the recording studio, you're supposed to...
Hold up, man.
I'm trying to tell you,
the real guy.
Get the real...
Give it a second. Now, what you said? What songs that you can talk about that you did with Prince? Allegedly.
So if you listen to the 8-track...
8-track.
The 8-track.
You going back.
8-track. The Head album.
Dirty Mind.
Now translate that, bro.
Dirty Mind had the song Head on it. And if you ask me, Dirty Mind was more of a tribute to punk rock because he stripped down. The Prince album was glossier.
Hold up, bro. Remember you talking to a man that said he was on this.
All right, but
so
I'm just saying.
Ask the guy what
would
was
you
about.
agree that the Prince album was glossier as far as being finished?
Oh yeah.
And Dirty Mind was like more of a punk rock. I'm gonna give this to Warner Brothers, and it's got that raw garage band sound to it.
Yeah, but mainly because it was done on an 8-track.
Done
that's
on
why it has that.
Where did they record this at?
Not where did they? Where did them?
Where did y'all record it at?
In the basement.
In Minneapolis or in California?
Come on, break it down for us, man. Come on, stop teasing us. Stop teasing us.
Right now.
Because he's also doing an album. He's also doing a Time album, and he's also doing a Vanity 6 album.
There's a lot of material. So hold on.
And
okay.
you were there.
Rebels
And you were
album.
there for some of this stuff, or most
And
of
the
the stuff,
Rebels
or all
album
of this
that never
stuff.
got released.
Exactly. A lot of the material that got shuffled through.
Okay.
They were like more like ideas, and that's why when he would go to the studio or get the band together, he had this little cassette with. Oh, I'm sorry. This little cassette. And, they would start from there and reproduce the sounds the best they could.
Please call in at 248-820-5053. We have someone here who was a peer of the artist who might be able to answer certain questions and might have shared ideas with the artist. Can I say that?
Sure.
He shared ideas with the artist. And there's a lot of production and a lot of things that we're talking about that might take your interest. The phone number again is 248-820-5053. We're also on Facebook if you have any questions or comments. But
I can't believe this guy.
I think that Dirty Mind was an interesting album, and it took a lot of people by surprise because it came out so quickly after the Prince album.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was shooting off 3 or 4 different groups at the same time. Going back to Rick James wanted to make the Stone City Band into a time-type group, but he came out with some group called Dooley and the Do-Rags, or Dooley and it was some kind of funky little band that these guys were wearing 50 styles clothes. It wasn't exactly the time, and they did not do well. Mary Jane Girls, on the other hand, a lot of people would say Mary Jane Girls would blow Vanity 6 out of the water. Singing talent-wise.
Give the number again.
248-820-5053. Who's better, Mary Jane Girls or Vanity 6?
Oh, wow.
Now, I have my reasons for loving Vanity 6. Because during my teenage years, Vanity was up on the wall.
Oh.
So this is the poster age. This is before internet where y'all can just click and see.
Instant
That's
gratification.
Beyonce naked.
Wake up to him. Got to wake up to him. Got to go to sleep with him on the wall right there.
So I had a Vanity poster up on the wall. Had a Lonnie Anderson poster for a little while, but then that goes down that Spike Lee story when your mama said, "Who the hell is this white woman on my wall?"
Yes.
But you had these bands coming out. You had this true competition going on, and then what gets weird is you have MTV coming out at the same time. Michael told CBS, "I want my videos on MTV," and guess what CBS did? Your wish is our command, sir.
Accommodated him. Holy, we were like, what just
Warner, and so Prince is like, well, hell, I want my videos on MTV too. But Prince wasn't making movie style videos. Prince would mostly do performance videos, where it's not a real storyline, but him just in the band, on stage performing or doing whatever most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers said, hey, either you play Prince or we're pulling all our heavy metal acts and we're pulling all our other artists and you won't be able to play any of them. Mm-hmm. And MTV said, all right, we'll put Prince on. And Little Red Corvette became a hit. And actually, I remember Little Red Corvette being played more on white stations than black stations did.
Yes.
He was actually getting that crossover that he wanted. He told Warner Brothers he didn't want to be considered a black artist. And this is one of the statements that made Rick James irate. He don't know if he black, if he white. He don't know if he's straight, if he's gay. He doesn't know this, that, the other thing. I don't like him. But Rick James was kind of upset with MTV not giving him the same
consideration
because Rick James has been around since the days of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Y'all put y'all headphones on because we probably gonna start getting calls.
And the Minor Birds. So Rick James had been around. Rick James was a minor bird, and he was with Peter, Paul, and Mary, not those people. And he made all these jams back in the day, and he paid his dues. He finally became an individual artist, and I think that song "You and I" is one of the most beautiful. I can't call it R&B. I can't call it funk because it's got classical. It's like you have to hear the song by Rick James, "You and I," and it's just a beautiful song, the long extended version.
So what did you think about, dang, I sound funny. What did you think about L7 Square?
I thought my older brothers were into Rick James, and we're busting out, and when Rick James came out with that, and with Mary Jane, and was getting away with all this other stuff, it shocked me that Motown didn't know what Mary Jane was about. They had lost grip. They had lost grip with the youth of America somewhere. When they made that transition from Detroit to L.A., they lost something. Because everybody in the hood knew what Mary Jane was and what was it about. But the people at Motown didn't, and they let it go by. And the centers let it go by, and then people finally realized, wait a minute, he's talking about narcotics.
Press 2.
Here we go.
Okay, we got a caller coming in. Caller, what's your name?
My name is John Mack.
How you doing, John Mack?
I'm doing outstanding. How are you gentlemen today?
We're doing well. Did you have a comment or a question for us in regards to Prince Rogers Nelson?
Yes, I do. Big fan of the show. Also very interesting to hear about Prince from those who are closest to him. My question
Excuse me,
was,
caller. Where are you
I
calling
believe
from?
I'm calling from Hawaii.
Ah. Aloha.
Aloha. Yes.
Say hello to the Obamas for me.
Say again.
Say hello to the Obamas for me.
Yeah, we actually just sold his home down here. I'm with Hawaii Lux team. Well, I'm here in real estate, and he just sold his home down here through our team.
Okay. Well, let's get back on track here.
world.
Would you had a question or a comment about?
Yes, the question was, in terms of being one of the greatest guitarists, I believe the industry may have slighted Prince in a way. What are your thoughts on him easily being amongst the top recognized guitarists?
I think, in my personal opinion, and I'm going to let you guys chime in, I think by him being African American and him being so talented in other things, from the lyrics that he chose to do, from him doing all this other stuff, sometimes you can't highlight that guitar virtuoso unless you're in concert. And unless you go into a Prince concert, you don't see him Van Halen it out or doing all the other stuff that all these other artists are given credit for, because that's the focal point of their video. There was a break sometime in the 70s.
Gently Weeps.
My Guitar Gently Weeps. Right. He showed out there. And I'm going to get to that. But there was a time when black folks played guitar. Jimi Hendrix was a guitar god. The Isley Brothers used to have Jimi Hendrix in their band. And the Isleys used to play guitar, and you can hear some great guitar solos on Who's That Lady and a whole bunch of other songs. But somewhere along the line, we stopped playing the guitar. Rick James played the guitar and a few others, but we got more into that Luther Vandross, mellow R&B, Quiet Storm type deal that didn't have as many guitars in it.
Is the caller still there?
Call, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, when you travel with Prince and you see that he was jamming on that guitar, and I Want to Be Your Lover video and a few other early videos, but the focus for R&B and for where he was placing sales became greater than just guitar. Because if you watch Purple Rain, I was about to call it The Color Purple. If you watch Purple Rain, he jams out on the guitar. But that original Little Red Corvette was actually him and Dez going back and forth, and then he morphed it into one solo. So that guitar solo at the end of Little Red Corvette, on Little Red Corvette and in Let's Go Crazy, is actually him and Dez jamming together and him putting something together. That's great. Why he didn't get as much credit? Racism, point blank. If you want to talk about Guitar, Rockstar Magazine, they weren't giving him credit in the 80s and the 90s. It wasn't until he showed his royal behind at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Awards in 2004 that he truly got credit. And Tom Petty, Jackson Browne, and a lot of those guys were mad at Prince because he didn't show up for rehearsal.
So hold on, because we got other calls coming in. But caller, did you get your question answered? And was there another question that we could add to that?
That is perfect. I appreciate you breaking that down, and thanks for having me on the show. You guys keep doing great work.
All right, well, keep calling in, keep watching us. Send us some suggestions on Facebook for future show ideas.
Outstanding. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Aloha, sir.
Have a great day.
Tell the folks they can call back.
Come on and call us at 248-820-5053. We're taking calls. That's interesting, though, because of that 2004, a lot of people that had passed Prince over suddenly took an interest in Prince. Mm-hmm. And it almost was like a revitalization to a new audience almost. Because a lot of people that were like, Prince, yeah, he did Purple Rain, and that's all they knew about Prince. Mm-hmm. They didn't hear anything else for a long period. He's beefing. He's not Prince anymore, is he? And people would, make comments like that for a long period of time. That 2004 kind of revitalized him and put him inside the mouths and ears of a lot of people.
Of new people.
I said that. You put him inside the mouths. Anyway.
Pause, no Diddy.
Whoa.
Head till you get enough. Anyway, back on topic. A lot of people came to the realization, like, wait a minute, this guy isn't just...
Let me rephrase it. Pause, no Little Richard.
But to give him credit, Mick Jagger was a big Prince fan. Keith Richards was not. Sting was a big Prince fan.
Yes.
But there were some people that didn't care for Prince. Annie Lennox was like, he's just kind of odd. but a lot of his
You know what,
contemporaries.
Brown?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign you up for a Jeopardy, specifically a Prince Jeopardy.
You know what? That'd be
And,
a great show.
He's gonna be good.
Prince
Yeah.
Jeopardy,
No, look,
Michael
this-
Jackson
look,
Jeopardy.
We're sitting right next to
Rick
a guy
James.
that was there for a lot of different things,
Yeah.
and you're making me feel like he was there more than you were.
Oh, well, see, there's certain things that I can't talk
Break it
about.
down to us. That
I
you
was on
can't-
this job.
Just say what it say. So certain things you can't say.
Well, yeah, for financial reasons.
For financial, okay.
Yeah.
So those contracts are real. That tell you, like, if you say this, we're gonna take your feet, soul, and everything else, and eat your blood.
Yeah. I mean, bearer bonds and Krugerrands and stuff, because the industry, a lot of times, they don't just pay you in cash. You get little perks.
No, we don't know. So break it down as much as you can. Break it down to us.
Well, let's put it this way. Right now, 30 years later, I cannot talk about certain things due to the fact that it'll affect monies that I had in an annuity for 30 years. Put it that way.
So you're getting royalty somewhere.
That's
Oh, you say that?
allegedly.
Allegedly. There you go.
Okay.
I knew that word was gonna come
Clean
in.
it up.
It was gonna help somewhere.
In perpetuity throughout the universe.
But then also, if we do this again, or when we do this again, you remember
I'll bring the museum in.
Okay, but remember when you talked about that little break, and everybody's, after the fact when he came back or reemerged.
He didn't really go anywhere.
Man, he was about to break something down. Stop, let the man talk. Come on, look.
My apologies, sir.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Remember, this is about
Late 90s.
and the myth, the legend, the man. Okay, so there's a lot of things in there. So there is. I'll just kind of shed a little light on something, so that way the callers or the listeners, I'm sorry, can look into it and think about it, and then next time, we can talk about it, maybe. But there's a space and time when he disappeared, and when he reemerged, he was playing, the oldies, the greats, and a lot of people would say, play this. No, not like that, like it was originally recorded. And he would actually say, I haven't learned that one yet. And everybody was like, what? Then all of a sudden, he reintroduced a lot of stuff through MPG?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same song, but the music was different. A lot of the chorus and stuff was different.
Well, I think anybody, if you write an essay when you're in third grade,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody asks you write an essay when you're 40, that essay is going to be different.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that him being 16, 17, 19 years old writing a song
Nah,
versus
I think
being
he
in
was
his
the
40s.
whole thing. Allegedly, some other folks did some stuff,
Something went down.
and then he had to figure it out once that stuff was done, because it was only bits and pieces. It was a puzzle, and he had a piece of the puzzle while other people made the other parts of the puzzle.
Put the piece. Yeah.
Allegedly.
And we've heard from the Tupac fan.
So now look, I'm saying, think of
happened.
Lauryn Hill. Think of Lauryn Hill. The thing when she wrote all that stuff, saying she did everything. Y'all remember that? She said she wrote everything. She did all the production.
Did she
And
say
then-
that over Wyclef? She said she didn't.
No,
give,
I'm talking about off her album. The
Right,
Miseducation,
why- she didn't
the Miseducation of
She
Lauryn Hill.
didn't give Wyclef any
Look,
any
man.
credit.
I remember because I've been waiting for a Lauryn Hill album since
I've been waiting for a Lauryn Hill concert.
I don't care who helped or who didn't help.
Right.
I just been waiting for her to come out with some more product. Like my veins is dry now. Like, but I'm saying it. You can't nobody do just everything by themselves. Even Marvin Gaye knew how to play everything, but he still had background people. Even though you got videos of seeing him doing rhythms, doing all kinds of stuff. So everybody, even though they know how to do these things, they still need help to create an album, to create a body of work. And that doesn't take away from their greatness.
Mm-hmm.
But yet and still, you can't just leave people in the shadows. Like, yeah.
Well, that's
you
part
know,
of the industry.
But I'm saying, but again, you can't be so much of a fan that you got somebody in living color right next to you that's giving you bits and pieces and nuggets, and probably would give you more off topic, off screen, so you can understand the things that you don't know, because we wasn't there. So I'm saying like this: the greatness of the great people are built on other people's backs.
Right? Have you ever heard the saying, "Never meet your heroes"?
Look, look. Everybody's a human being.
Right.
Meeting a hero is just, it's up to you in your mind state. So LeBron James, he's one of the greatest players to ever play basketball, but there's 150 other people that helped him get to that greatness, even though they ain't shooting out one shot.
You mentioned Lauryn Hill, and kudos to Prince.
Y'all get what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be.
I get what you're saying, but I'm gonna tag along. Lauryn Hill's children, when Lauryn Hill was having some difficulty, Prince sent money to take care of the kids. Even though Lauryn Hill's with the Marleys, who have a lot of money, Prince had to send money for her children to be taken care of. And I found that interesting. And there's a lot of little stories like that where musicians say Prince sent them money or did something for them or paid for a surgery or did something major for them behind the scenes without getting credit for it or didn't want credit for it. So I'm just going to give kudos right there. Yeah. What do you have a comment on that, sir? Or have you ever heard of any of this magnanimousness from the artist?
As far as reaching out to people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he did that a lot. For sure. But there's no buts. You can see, like, I have to tiptoe around a lot of stuff.
So let me ask
What can you speak on?
Let me ask a question about this. So I'm a Prince fan. Sometimes it snows in April is one of my favorite songs.
And when did he expire?
I don't know. I ain't as huge on all that like he is.
It was in April.
So sometimes it snows in April.
I bet it snowed.
but what I was gonna say is, like, how frustrating and mind constraining is it to have to live under those kind of barriers or chains of where you can't speak about so much of your actual life?
That's
how tiring is that? Because
it's very exhausting.
Because I know some people that are currently in the music entertainment industry, and it's some stuff I wish I could talk about. And I ain't got no contract and no strings on me. I can say whatever, but because of the respect of people that I know, I can't say nothing, and they telling me because they know I ain't gonna say nothing.
Right.
And it's like, dang.
And
get to hear some stuff that nobody else is ever gonna get to hear with people that you never thought would collaborate together. How mind straining is that?
Well, look at it like this. Okay, after the death, and everybody was trying to claim, I mean, it's a fact that Haywood Nelson from, was it not Good Times, Rerun.
Oh, you talking about What's Happening, Nelson?
What's Happening, yeah.
Haywood
Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah, he's related, but when it came down to the actual father scenario, John Nelson is not. And like I keep saying,
I met a man in 1993 who claimed to be Prince's cousin.
Okay.
And according to my understanding, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And he had a family in Michigan, and he had a family in Minnesota, and he probably might have had a family elsewhere, but he was kind of a Rolling Stone for here and there. So, so
I want to do this because y'all old heads been talking for a minute. Young man ain't said very much enough. He been soaking in a lot of game.
Right.
So you break it something down before we run out of time. What's your thoughts on all of this stuff? Give us something.
He can't wait until the next episode.
Well, let me give him the phone number, and then we're going to let him speak. 248-820-5053. Chime in and tell us if you want to see a part 2 to this Prince saga. Maybe we can get a little bit more out of the ice cube on the other end of the table.
It just seemed like it's a lot. I mean, you have these individuals that you look to, you feel like you know something, and then you start getting a whole lot more. So from him, I've learned so much today. New songs, even what he just mentioned about what he just did for Lauryn Hill's children. And then over here, I've heard before too. Like he's told me some of these stories before too, and it's just like you think you know a person, but you really don't.
So hold up. So he's told you. So is there some kind of correlation? Do you know how well do you know this man?
Right next to me?
Yeah.
He's been known. Since I came out the womb.
So who is he to you?
This is my uncle right here.
So you believe what he's saying?
Yeah, I believe what he's saying.
So he ain't lying to us.
Oh no, he's telling. He done been around. He's
so you stamping what he's saying.
Oh yeah, I could stamp what he's saying.
Okay, so
for sure.
Then that right there. So based on the stories you heard and the stories he can't tell, how do you think about it? Like the same question I asked him. What do you think about it? Like, dang, Unc can't even say this or talk.
What are you going to ask him after the show is over?
I don't even press the issue, but I can share in that feeling though, and sometimes it is exhausting. It's been different work things I've done before, other stuff before. Like it's almost like living like a double life sometimes, But it's interesting though, it's because you can share it when time allows, but it's just not something you just always readily talk about, and so it's almost like you're putting on a facade. Sometimes when you're in public for different things, and there's so much you want to say, but you can't say it. That's where it may get exhausting. Especially when at tables like this, where it would be so beneficial to pour out some of that information, but you just, for other reasons, you just can't do it.
It's still G4 classified.
Right. So
yeah, you can start telling stories about. My grandmama said,
well,
whose first cousins with Berry Gordy that he used to pee in a bed. Share them type of stories.
Look, see that's why you a fan, man. Because you over there, you want to throw all of the bedwetting stories out there.
They said they came up from Georgia. And they had our cousins got to sleep in the same room together.
Oh yeah. Well, I got one. Oh gosh, can't say. Well, when we were kids, when I would go out to Minnesota, I thought I was going to Detroit. My dad was like, okay, well, he'll tell my mom. Anyway, yeah, well, we're going, downtown and stuff like that, and I'll bring him back in a week. And I would be on the car, and I'm like, dude, I know how long it takes to get to Detroit. So, meet this little dude.
Is that a caller coming in?
I think that's somebody else.
Oh, and then, well, there's this other guy who grew up, who spent a lot of time with Jamie. I call him Jamie. James Princiano. But anyway.
When did you first start calling him Jamie? Was it before stardom or when he was a little kid?
When he was a kid.
Because I heard the name Skipper thrown around.
That was for Maddie.
That's Mama's nickname for him was Skipper.
We called him Mousy.
And you called him what?
Mousy.
Or Jamie. I'm just trying to figure out the correlation to Jamie. We got Prince Rogers Nelson. Is there a family member named Jamie, or where does the name Jamie come from?
From my dad.
Okay.
Yep. But anyway,
it's hard. We need Barbara. We need Barbara Walters or Henry Kissinger. We need somebody here to break this ice.
But so anyway,
Henry Kissinger, like
somebody with a deeper voice and more.
So let's
Ed Bradley.
let them break it down.
Let's think about after the death, right? The 2016 death.
Wait, hold on. Why you say it like that? What you like is multiple
because there are multiple universes, and some people think the world ain't been right since Prince died.
Look, Berenstein, not Berenstain. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, exactly. So,
does the Monopoly Man have a monocle?
So, there you go. So let's think about this. After, like I said, the 2016 death, why was it that Andre, Morris, nobody would really, talk about,
Well, Jimmy Jam came out, and he was.
Let him finish his statement, man.
No, that's fine.
I want to hear.
But Morris made a song.
Let him finish the statement. Why wasn't it what?
Oh, they would not talk about specifics, details. It was just like random script, you know. Well, yeah, we did this and we did that. And blah,
Jimmy
blah,
Jam
blah,
didn't
blah,
sign no NDA.
Exactly. But that's, remember.
We got to read between the lines and guess what you. We got to infer. Jimmy Jam got fired.
Yeah, so he didn't give it. You know, like, blah, blah, blah,
I'm
blah,
spilling the tea.
But everybody else, they were getting a monthly or a weekly stipend, pay through Paisley Park. And, you know, they still get paid. So why would you livelihood? You know what I mean?
When they were valuing Paisley Park at $30 million, I'm trying to figure out why people like Magic or some of these NBA players didn't get together, or people with money didn't get together and say, buy it now. It's like being able to buy like when Michael Jackson bought the Beatles. When he bought the Beatles Masters, he bought them for like $48 million. He outbid Paul McCartney by about $10 million.
Yeah.
Paul was pissed. But
The girl is mine.
the Masters are mine.
There you go.
But I'm trying to figure out why our people didn't jump on and say, hey, this can't do anything but increase in value. And right now you're starting to hear Prince songs pop up inside movies and on commercials. And it's just going to be just like Motown songs went through a cycle with the Raisins singing in the 80s, and the Beatles go through a cycle where they're making movies about Beatles songs and whatnot. Prince is going to be that artist, or Prince represents to me a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And I honestly believe that we were blessed to breathe the same air, to be able to see him in concert, to see this wonderkin. That's
The magic.
It's like
Of
being
the
able.
Wonderkin.
Now,
Yes,
now
I
what
do.
was the name of y'all gang again? What y'all call
We were
yourselves?
the purple ones.
The purple ones?
My daddy, my great
'Cause
granddaddy.
I'm about to
was the
hashtag
purple gang.
it now. So what y'all call
The purple gang.
the purple gang? Okay.
My granddaddy was purple gang.
I thought it was a different purple gang.
No,
It's the same
Right.
Valentine's.
No, there's the official purple army.
said
I know about the purple gang.
the gang formerly known as.
No, let's call ourselves the MFA, Midnight
No,
Funk.
But I'm saying for those that follow Prince, what is it called? The Purple Gang?
We're gonna use MFA. If you follow Prince,
Man,
you know
stop.
what MFA is.
I want to know so we can get the folks to keep looking and they like, oh, what they say about Prince, and then they can tell y'all one way or another if they agree with y'all or not.
What would you say we should call
No, it's not a call. What is it called? What? Yes,
this? The Purple Army. I think it's called the Purple
man,
Army.
get the phone.
Coming in like he's somebody's daddy.
I know. Boom, boom.
That was
boom.
the business part.
We felt it. We were like, boom, boom. Like,
No, Dad, he heard you. She heard you.
yeah, but definitely, hopefully, next time
Let's
we can
let's
get
call
enough
us-
people.
Let's call ourselves the Minnetonkas.
It ain't what you
We-
calling
we-
yourself.
we
it's
bathe in the
what
waters of
is
Minnetonka.
What's the
Okay,
name?
just like they're called the Beehive or and other things. What
Right,
are
right.
Prince fans called?
Purple. I've heard Purple Army.
Oh, you don't.
I've heard
There you
Fams.
go. The
I've heard
Purple
Fam.
Army.
I've heard Fams. I've heard Purple Army. I've heard a lot of different things.
There you go. That sounds good.
Rude
It
Boys.
sounds good. Look,
Oh,
it's got to
He
be
did say
something
the Purple-
official.
He did say the Purple Army earlier
So
too.
Purple Army. So I'm gonna stick with you because they ain't trying to give you no.
Right,
favor.
I gave
You
you
gotta
Purple
pick
Army
one.
earlier.
Purple Army.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not the purple gang.
Right, you gonna have
MPG.
us
Sometimes
all-
he called them the
we
MPG
always
also.
wake up like, what
or
y'all
the
doing
new
here?
breed. The new breed.
Man, I ain't listening to you no more.
yeah. So hopefully, we
Caller number 3, you're on.
get them to, invest their time, and we can do this again because
How many people want to see the show again? Or is there another artist you like us to talk on? Because I got a lot of dirt on Stevie.
Oh boy.
Why it's got to be dirt?
Because dirt is so interesting. It's good dirt, though.
That's
when
what
he
we
was-
were made from.
that
They
he
say
was-
he ain't blind.
Oh no, he
Well.
isn't. He's got the same scenario. Wasn't he related to Ray Charles? They both have the same eye thing. They see silhouettes and
They
things of
see
that
lights
nature.
and shadows.
Let's see.
I was playing pickleball with him the other day. Nope, sight, lie.
Two truths and a lie.
So next time, hopefully, I can tell you a lot of things.
You got to
in the
read through your contract first, huh? Like, is this check I'm getting worth it, or should I?
We don't want nobody coming in the room busting.
Right. He
But
did not,
to snatch
he
him
didn't
out.
take his
Have
pills
Big
today.
Chick Hunsonberry comes in. It's like,
And snatch him out the room.
from the grave.
Mo Austin from the grave. Ooh.
Yeah, 10 of them.
So yeah, that was some great stuff, y'all. I appreciate you, expounding on as much as you did, allegedly. We're gonna keep that out there.
Oh, I got more. We got to do a sequel.
And look, I'm thinking more and more that you a Prince fan, plus you work for the CIA and the NSA.
Everybody works for the CIA.
No.
Think about it.
This is true.
The way
Our cell phones work for the CIA.
The way they control and manipulate us is through our phones. They tell us what we want to buy, what we want to eat, and if you trigger 10 people with the same stimuli, at least 2 or 3 of them are going to complete that mission.
Only a retired CIA agent
would know that.
I am not CIA. My connection with the government is non-existent.
Anymore.
Is non-existent.
You waiting to get recalled.
I was a school teacher and a principal.
Oh, here we go.
My name is Elmer Fudd.
Right.
My name is Elmer Fudd. I own a yacht
and a mansion.
and a mansion.
You talk about Super MK Ultra.
My name is Elmer Fudd. I own a yacht and a mansion.
Mind controller.
I have been programmed to respond a certain way.
And now he's got us trying to create a purple game.
Right.
Yeah, the purple CIA. CIA is deep in the music industry. If you look at where all of Jimi Hendrix royalties went to.
Yeah.
So I think we found one of our next episodes of GenEraTions.
Oh.
Yeah, I ain't gonna keep calling me CIA. I live in the hood.
They're gonna be on.
Like, hey,
nah, you cool.
He does have a lot of cameras up.
You cool if you CIA. You just don't want to be the police. CIA, you on a new level.
That's a whole different.
Yeah. They're gonna be the homie.
I'm the CIA that can get the police in trouble. Like,
well, you raise your hand like you need permission.
No. So next time,
tune in next week when
we'll talk about, or I can share some information, because like I said, my studio was in Burbank, off of La Brea, and on the same street was.
Are there other artists you can talk about?
Let him finish, man. You don't want this man to finish not one statement.
Red Fox. Tommy Chung.
Interesting man.
There was a whole bunch of us, and down the street was the Wayans brothers.
Tommy Chung deserves a movie made about his life.
Have you met him?
Serious.
I have not met him, but he's got stories that go back to the beginning of rock and roll.
Okay.
Thought he was gonna say the beginning of time.
Probably. Have you seen his daughter? His daughter's fine as
Ray Don?
Oh, I used to have a crush on her. Used to have a crush on her. And then they got her in movies with Mick Jagger. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, but it's
but Hollywood was funny back in the 70s. I hear.
It was crazy.
And I'm talking about teenagers getting on with movie stars.
So hold up. You giving us some fantasy stories. What was it like when you were living in California on La Brea?
It was... No, I didn't live in La Brea. I lived in Burbank.
Wherever.
Cocaine was a hell of a drug.
It was wild. Certain places you didn't want to go due to the fact that the locations were enclosed, and you would hear all of these stories and things of that nature. And then when you would go to the places, you'd have people just walking up on you and just like grabbing you, and you're like, dude, what is this? Just because I dress this way, it doesn't work like that. So
to end this episode, this show, give us one story you can give us about the times when you were in the industry, and something PG-13ish, maybe NC-17 a little bit in between there. Something you could tell us about.
Tell us about the time you kissed Zsa.
Actually, what's her name? The one who said that. I can't say that. She was a comedian, and then she died after she made a statement about a president's wife.
Oh, you're talking about what's her face?
Come on, what's the lady's name?
Blonde hair used to be on the Tonight Show.
She had her own show.
This is also a throwback photo here of this gentleman during those days.
Oh, he a Prince lookalike.
No, Jamie. I'm sorry. Jamie wore shorts Jamie wore shorts.
Hold on, show that picture to our. Put that picture in front of the camera real quick.
I can't believe you still had that.
You can't let this one down.
Jamie
Get
wore
closer.
shorts. Wait, let me show you something.
You got that Prince silhouette.
Let me show you something.
Motown tried to hire a guy named Alexander.
All you can see is that you can see the man.
Their version of Prince.
So do you see a 6 on the wall? I mean, see the knot hole?
I'm trying. Getting it as clear
You
as I
using
can.
technology.
I can't.
Y'all
Thanks
see
a lot.
that? Y'all see how clear that got?
Thanks a lot, Jewel.
You using good technology.
Look. I was hoping this
This
would have
didn't
been
come from the
over
$5
before she
stuff.
came in.
Oh.
Let me see if this is the one. Okay.
So share a story about somebody that you can't talk about. Shaka Khan ain't sending you no money, is she?
No. I can share a story about Chaka Khan and
Tell us about Shaka Khan and Natalie Cole.
and
I want to hear that story.
and
Brown,
Jimi Hendrix' girlfriend Litho Fane.
you need to take your pills.
Jimi
that-
Hendrix did what?
Jimi Hendrix had a muse named Litho Fane.
Okay.
Okay.
Was this a European muse or an American muse?
An American. Look up Litho Fane.
I'm trying to remember the name of the. He used to stay with two gay twins and a woman, and I can't remember her name. But she was kind of like his muse for a little while he was in America.
Oh, he had a ton of muses.
Before he got taken out. Before he got taken over to overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Put your phone on vibrate.
Litho Fan.
Litho Fane.
Litho Fan.
Mm-hmm. That
Okay.
was his muse. But Jesus Christ.
Now I heard about Jimmy stealing women from like Eric. What's his name? Guitar man. Eric.
Clapton?
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, yeah,
And stealing
yeah.
women from
Eric
some of
Clapton?
the Beatles and some of the
So
Rolling
you saying
Stones.
Jimi Hendrix, right?
Jimi Hendrix was
So
snatching.
hold on. You
Went to
saying
England and started
you saying a
snatching women.
6 foot tall black dude.
Went to
He ain't
England.
still nothing.
He pulled.
They chose him.
he just pulled.
You
Amen,
talking about
brother.
Jimmy Hendrix coming in
Amen,
there
brother.
like, hey, what's going on? How y'all doing? We going with you. That's it. That was it.
That was
It's the
it.
beginning and end of it. Eric Clapton could be as cool as he want to be and as hippie-ish as he wanted to be. But Jimi Hendrix coming inside anywhere, everybody hit. Just like if Jamie Prince, whatever, was to come in the room, don't look in his eyes because all the women is going with him. If I was to choose between who I'm going to go with, hanging out with, between Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson, Prince, and Marvin Gaye, I'm hanging with Prince because I'll take all the leftovers. That's
I don't know. Rick James might be fun to hang with.
Rick James is gonna get me sent to prison.
You know what? Sometimes getting in trouble sometimes is fun.
He might be an
Now
agent.
standing in front of the
trying to
judge, ain't
Trying to send us, trying to lock us up.
You see what I'm saying? You
Trying to get us to open up. Uh-huh.
It's like we have the perfect scenario
No.
here.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Mike Judge's Behind the Tour Bus where they talk about the after party and Prince being up on his own floor and everybody got their fingers out and acting all weird and strange and purple and talking all the hippie stuff. But the real party was going on with the time downstairs. Alan Leeds talks about, I got off on the wrong floor. And it's like, wait a minute, maybe I didn't get off on the wrong floor. Because it would be literally people with lampshades on their hair, people running around naked, and this is the time party. And this is when Prince started having issues with the time. Because just like he would kick Rick James's ass sometimes in concert,
Time of roast.
sometimes the time would kick Prince's ass in concert, and I'll play him, even though it was all his music. But it's just kind of interesting how things come full circle.
All right.
Can't wait.
We're done with this show. We're gonna do it again. Maybe not next week, but maybe in a few weeks when we can collect all our toys. But send some questions, send some messages. We got a new phone number, 248-820-5053. Save that number. If you got an idea for a show, give it to us. If you want us to talk about Michael or Stevie or some other people, I'll look through my files and talk to a few of my
Here you go.
friends downtown and see what I can find out.
And remember,
Yeah,
this
we can
show
do
is
that.
called Generations.
The show is called Generations, and it is produced by the great George Bundy,
Out of the Mud
Productions.
Incorporated.
Incorporated / LLC.
Bravo.
Georgia Grundy II and James Mayfield.
International rights reserved in perpetuity throughout the universe.
Can't forget that.
Look, we're trying to make sure the CIA doesn't shut us down, so we keep an operative here.
This is my way of getting information out. Yeah.
Propaganda. There you go. Oh,
Well,
Lord.
you when Prince passed away, Donald Trump said, "I hired him once." And people were like, "You did what?" He tried to say that Prince used to work for him. And people got offended by that. He said, "You might have hired him to work at Trump Tower." All right, it's time to say goodbye to all our company. Thank you. This has been Generations, Out of the Mud Productions, LLC, limited liability. Anything said here is only opinion, and contrary to lawsuits and all that other stuff, we're going to blame him.